Now, there's big trouble for actor Jacqueline Fernandez. The Enforcement Directorate will now be filing a prosecution complaint against the actor, and this will be in the court today. In fact, as per sources, the Enforcement Directorate has revealed that Jacqueline Fernandez has been named as an accused in the matter related to extortion done by Sukesh Chandrashekar. So this is big trouble for actor Jacqueline Fernandez. Now, prosecution complaint is to be filed by the Enforcement Directorate in this particular matter. Remember, this reveals that Jacqueline Fernandez was very much aware that Sukesh Chandrashekar was in jail, and despite that, she was accepting gifts for herself and her family members. A charge that she has denied earlier on. But now that there is a prosecution complaint which is all set to be in court today by the Enforcement Directorate, this does smell like big trouble for actor Jacqueline Fernandez. My colleague Ashish is joining me on the broadcast. Ashish, this is a big setback there for Jacqueline Fernandez. She'd have a lot of answering now that this prosecution complaint will be in court by the ED.
So we all know that she has been questioned several times by the Enforcement Directorate, and finally, if you remember earlier, the Enforcement Directorate also decided to basically freeze her, or you can say attach her assets under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Around 7.27 crore rupees of assets were attached. But here, what our sources in the Enforcement Directorate are confirming to us is that they have decided to file a prosecution complaint against her. She's being named as an accused in the matter. My sources tell me in the Enforcement Directorate that she was very much in the know that yes, he was in jail and she was basically accepting proceeds of crime from Sukesh Chandrashekar, and that is why she is being named as an accused. What we are expecting is that the Enforcement Directorate is going to file a prosecution complaint around 12 noon in the Rouse Avenue court in Delhi, in the PMLA court, and obviously it's going to be certainly a troubled time because a Bollywood actress, a big name, she's being named as an accused in a matter where extortion happened through Sukesh Chandrashekar. If you remember, Sukesh Chandrashekar extorted more than 200 crore rupees from the wife of Shivendra Mohan Singh, Aditi Singh, who is the former owner of Fortis Healthcare Group. And, despite he being in jail, he bribed jail officials as well. We all know that there is a FIR that has been registered by the EOW of Delhi Police, and then subsequently the Enforcement Directorate has also registered a PMLA case where they are basically going to investigate various police officials. Around 84 have been named by the Delhi Police in its FIR, and all these officials were basically bribed by Sukesh Chandrashekar. Being in jail, he was distributing money and he was taking favors from them. And we all know that the family members of Jacqueline Fernandez as well as Jacqueline Fernandez, they have been beneficiary of proceeds of crime. So here the most important aspect would be that they are telling the court that she was very much in the know that he was in jail and she was accepting proceeds of crime from him.
Ashish, you have been tracking this story from the word go. The fact that, Jacqueline earlier on through the process of the various questioning, like you've been mentioning to our viewers, has denied any association. She's also in the past asked for her passport to be retrieved so that she can go and, attend certain award ceremonies, go abroad, which was denied earlier to the actor. Now, what is the next step for her once this prosecution complaint is filed before the PMLA court?
So it will be absolutely on what the court decides. The court can accept, or court cannot accept the application, the prosecution complaint filed by the court. In case the court takes cognizance of the complaint, then it becomes very difficult for Jacqueline Fernandez because she's an accused, and then the Enforcement Directorate can even decide, because in case there is a provision under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act that if a deputy director or an assistant director or the IO concerned who's looking into the case, if they feel that the person is basically guilty of accepting proceeds of crime, that person can be arrested. And we all know getting bail under Prevention of Money Laundering Act has become really difficult after the Supreme Court recent judgment as well. So here, in case the Enforcement Directorate decides to arrest her, then obviously it's going to be certainly going to be troubled time for Jacqueline Fernandez.
Right, Ashish. Also, it is alleged that the gifts to the tune of crores of rupees that we are talking about, because we do know that Sukesh Chandrashekar had given gifts worth 5.71 crore to Jacqueline Fernandez. This is the kind of money that we are talking about over here. Of course, there has to be a word coming from the actor. She's so far, obviously refrained from talking because the matter is sub judice and things are really beginning to get heated up for her. The fact that, Sukesh also had appealed to the court to actually shift him, that also was, something that we were looking at. Now we have this thing coming from the Enforcement Directorate where they've gone ahead and filed this prosecution complaint, which might just be accepted by the court, which will spell big trouble for not just Sukesh but also Jacqueline.
So here, one has to realize the fact that what is new in the entire prosecution complaint. We all know that it is not only Jacqueline Fernandez, there are various other actresses who were directly in touch with Sukesh Chandrashekar. In fact, there have been allegations. In fact, if you go through the charge sheet that has been filed earlier, it names certain Bollywood actresses which we would not like to name. They visited Sukesh Chandrashekar inside the jail premises, and the jail staff basically escorted these actresses inside the jail premises, and there were parties inside Rohini jail and Tihar jail. So it has brought embarrassment to the entire system on how a person called Sukesh Chandrashekar, who's nobody, who's basically a con man, he decides basically to bribe jail officials. He decides to get film actresses inside jail premises for his parties and for his other enjoyments, and the system basically is not able to do anything. So ultimately, Jacqueline Fernandez earlier, she said that she's innocent. She had no idea that that Sukesh Chandrashekar was in jail, and he was gifting whatever the gifts that she was receiving was coming from extorted money or proceeds of crime. But here, the Enforcement Directorate has got enough evidence with them. They have enough evidence to show to the court that she was very much in the know, that he was behind the bars. He was a known con man, a person who has been extorting money for a number of years. She derived benefits. She was traveling in planes that were basically, the money was given by Sukesh Chandrashekar. She was being gifted very expensive purses. She was being given cats. She was being given horses, and the number of gifts that she was accepting. So ultimately, the Enforcement Directorate found out that she, along with her family members, got around 7.27 crore rupees of gifts, which have been attached till now. Yeah, so
and Ashish, her Instagram account also is full of pictures which actually spell volumes about the kind of gifts that possibly the actor has received. Remember, we are also talking about this money that was received by conman Sukesh Chandrashekar after he'd extorted high profile people, cheating them, and this includes the former Fortis healthcare promoter Shivendra Mohan Singh's wife Aditi Singh as well. So we have cases like this against him. If you could briefly tell our viewers, like you were mentioning, the kind of money trail that we are looking at over here when it comes to the gifts that were received by Jacqueline and her family members by Sukesh.
So you name the brand, and the big brand, she was being gifted purses by Sukesh Chandrashekar. Now, there are Persian cats where each cat cost around 9 to 10 lakh rupees. She was being gifted a horse which costed around 55 lakh rupees. Chanel, Gucci, you name, Hermes, you name the brand where, huge amount of money is required to buy a purse. It was, Sukesh Chandrashekar who was sending gifts to Jacqueline Fernandez. And, this is like huge money which has actually been forwarded to Jacqueline Fernandez. Here, it's not only about 200 crore rupees that were extorted from Aditi Singh, wife of Shivendra Mohan Singh. But ultimately, that benefit was that out of that 200 crore rupees, huge amount of money was going to different people, which include Jacqueline Fernandez, Noora Fatehi. There are many more actresses who benefited out of it. Okay,
we seem to have lost that link with